Am I the asshole for refusing to be the witness in my friend's fight? I've had the same friend group since college and I love these people, but last week turned into something I'm still processing. Two of my friends, I'll call them Jordan and Leah, have been together about a year. On the surface, they seem fine, but I've always noticed things get tense between them fast. I've made a point of staying close to both without getting pulled into their dynamic. That worked until it didn't. Same day, 2 separate calls. Jordan calls at lunch, voice shaky, goes straight into, "Tell me I'm not crazy." Says Leah has been telling people he's controlling and monitors her. He says he's just been asking basic stuff like where she is and when she's coming home because she disappears for hours. Then comes, "You've seen how she is, right? Say you know I'm not like that." I told him I'm sorry he's going through it, but I can't validate a story I only heard from one side. He goes quiet and says, "So you're staying neutral?" I said, "Yeah." That evening, Leah calls. Calmer but clearly exhausted. She already knew Jordan had called. She tells me she feels trapped, that anytime she's with friends, he's blowing up her phone, and if she doesn't reply fast enough, it becomes a fight. She says he makes her prove she's not lying. Then she asks me directly to back her up when it comes up in the group. I told her the same thing I told him. I'm not going to be used as a weapon in their relationship. 2 days later, we're all at a hangout, and it is not chill. Someone makes a dumb joke about drama, and suddenly Jordan goes, "Ask him, he knows." And Leah snaps back, "No, he doesn't. He's too scared to say anything." Both of them staring at me like I'm on trail. Jordan calls me a coward. Leah says staying neutral is enabling him. I said, probably too blunt, "I'm not your witness. I'm not doing this." Left early, the whole night fell apart. Now the group chat is messy and I'm getting texts saying I should have spoken up or I should have told the truth. But what truth exactly? I've seen Jordan get intense and I've seen Leah shut down, but I genuinely don't know what happens behind closed doors or who started what. I don't want to be wrong and make everything worse. Am I the asshole for refusing to pick a side when I only ever had half the story?
Am I the asshole for telling I have zero need for a gift I was given? Before I tell what happened, I must give some context. My grandmother has always given me, and members of my family, expensive gifts. Gifts none of us ask for. My 16-year-old female cousin received a very expensive designer handbag, which she doesn't wear. My other cousin, a boy, received an expensive watch, which he neither asked for or wears. I think she wants to buy appreciation or respect instead of earning it through love and being a good grandmother. I say this because today I had invited the whole family over for dinner. I had just returned from abroad and wanted to celebrate my homecoming. She shows up first, while the food is still cooking, and begins talking while I'm in the middle of preparations. She takes out an electric toothbrush of all things and hands it over to me as a gift. I have never wanted an electric toothbrush. I have never spoken about it, yet here it is. She says it's far better than a regular one, and that I need to start using it. Says that it cost her 120 euros. She also gives me 2 packs of those heads that you can replace when the brushes wear out. That, plus insurance, in case I drop the thing or damage it, which according to her was not cheap. My reaction was one of shock and confusion. I told her bluntly that I do not need one. I am happy with what I have. Her reply was that it is already bought. There is no receipt, so there is nothing to be done about it anymore. She went and put it in my bedroom table, and upon returning starts listing all the benefits, how much better it cleans, how important dental hygiene is, how I simply must begin using it. I am leaving the country in a week's time, so tell her that I cannot take it with me. The thing is bulky, has a charger and a stand. I simply have no purpose for it. After noticing her getting frustrated, I drop the topic. She insists on its benefits, and I listen in silence. Eventually, the other guests arrive and the conversation shifts, but I can tell she is annoyed throughout the whole night about the fact that I did not accept her gift with open arms. Therefore, my question is, Should I have feigned appreciation and thankfulness? Was my blunt reaction and honesty inappropriate? Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for refusing to let my mother see my daughter unsupervised after she read my childhood diary out loud at dinner to punish me? There are some things a parent should never be allowed to do. Reading your child's private diary and then punishing her for what she wrote inside it is one of them. She used a butter knife. That detail still gets me. Not scissors, not asking, not knocking on my door. A butter knife jammed into the lock of a journal I bought with my own birthday money because I needed somewhere, anywhere, that was just mine. I was 11. I didn't know she had done it until dinner. She set the diary on the table between the salad bowl and the bread basket like it was Exhibit A in a case she had already decided. My aunt was there. My grandmother was there. My older cousin was there eating his second roll and not paying attention yet. My mother looked at me and said, "You want to tell everyone what you wrote in here, or should I?" I couldn't speak. My face went hot. I remember staring at the lock because it was bent, the little gold clasp twisted sideways, and I kept thinking someone broke that. Someone broke that on purpose to get inside. She read it out loud. Not all of it, just the parts where I said I felt invisible. The part where I wrote that I cried in the bathroom at school because I was scared to cry at home. The part where I said I didn't think she actually liked me very much. She read those parts out loud at the dinner table in front of my grandmother and my aunt and my cousin, who had finally put down his roll. Then she looked at me and said, "I want you to apologize to this family for writing such hateful, ungrateful things." Here's what I want you to understand, because this is the part that matters beyond the drama of it. A child who is punished for their private emotions does not learn to stop feeling those things. They learn to hide. They learn that the inside of their own mind is not safe. They learn that the people who are supposed to protect them are also the people they need protection from. Psychologists call this a betrayal trauma response. The brain registers it the same way it registers danger from a stranger, except it has nowhere to go because the danger is also home. I didn't have words for that at 11. I just knew I felt sick and small and that I would never write anything real again. I apologized. I sat at that table and said the words because I didn't know I was allowed not to. I said I was sorry for writing things that hurt people's feelings. And my grandmother nodded like that was the correct and proper thing. And my mother looked satisfied. And my cousin went back to his role, and that was that. The diary went in the trash. She threw it away in front of me. I watched her do it. I'm an adult now, and for a long time I carried this story like it was a small thing. Like maybe I was too sensitive, like plenty of kids have it worse, and what's a diary really? But I started going to therapy 2 years ago, and my therapist asked me when I first learned that my emotions were a problem, and I started to answer, and then I stopped because I was back at that dinner table, 11 years old, watching my mother read my private grief out loud to people who were eating bread. Here is what actually happened as a consequence, and I'm telling you this because I think it matters that there were real ones. My relationship with my mother is what you might call functional from a distance. I moved across the country for a reason. I don't call often. When I visit, I stay in a hotel, and she has never once asked why, which tells you something about her awareness of what she did. 2 years ago, when I started therapy, I wrote her a letter. Not an accusatory one, just honest. I told her I remembered the diary. I told her it had affected me. I told her I was working through it, and I wanted her to know. She called my aunt to talk about how ungrateful I still was. My aunt, to her credit, called me instead. She said, "I felt bad about that night for 25 years. I should have said something. I'm sorry I didn't." That was the first apology anyone in that family ever gave me for what happened at that table. My aunt said it, not my mother. My mother and I are cordial. That is the most I have to give. She comes to holidays if I'm hosting, and she is pleasant, and she brings a good bottle of wine, and we talk about surface things, and I do not leave her alone with my daughter. That last part is not something I decided dramatically. It's just something I do. My daughter is 7. She has a journal. It has a lock on it, a real one, not the kind that bends under a butter knife. I bought it for her. I told her it was hers and that I would never read it without her permission. She looked at me like that was a strange and unnecessary promise. I hope she never understands why I had to make it. So I guess the question I keep sitting with is this. When a parent teaches a child that her private feelings are punishable offenses, is the parent aware of what they're actually teaching? Or do they genuinely believe they were the victim in that story? Because my mother, to this day, would tell you she was hurt by what I wrote. She would not mention the butter knife. Am I wrong to still be angry about a dinner that happened 25 years ago? Or is the thing I'm really angry about the person I had to become just to survive that table?
Am I the asshole for asking a parent not to bring their baby into the pool? Sorry for long post, forgive a listener and Patreon supporter. My husband and I were staying at a beautiful resort in the Canary Islands last week. The hotel had 3 outdoor pools. One was marked for swimmers, another for non-swimmers, and the last was a shallower kids' pool with small slides. These were not heated, but with the warm weather they were cool, but not freezing. There was also a spa with an indoor heated pool, jacuzzi, sauna, steam room. The spa was open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m, with 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. being adults only. In our first day, I braved the outdoors pool, which even for a wimp like me wasn't unbearable, but with the option of the indoor pool, I quickly opted to switch to that one. There were lots of kids jumping and playing in the pool, plus lots of babies, so I opted to return at 4 p.m, so I could swim without worrying about taking care around small children. I did this each day, and it worked well. 4 days later, however, after about 20 minutes, a family with 3 kids under about 5 years old came into the pool area of the spa. A few adults were murmuring, and I thought, they probably don't know, so politely told them and pointed out the sign on the door. They were nice about it and said they'd come back tomorrow. Then, however, 2 more couples with babies of 1 to 2 years old came in, so of course everyone was looking to me. I did the same thing and politely told them as before. However, the dad said, "Does it really bother you that much?" I said, "Not loads, but it's the adults only time, and the adults in the pool prefer to come now to swim." He said, "It's the only pool that's heated and the babies have been napping, so we've come now." I said, "I understand, but it's just a 2-hour adults only time. The rest of the day is for kids." He ignored me and they got in, of course meaning 3 or 4 more young children ended up in there over the next half hour or so. I spoke to the lifeguard and he said he'd already told them, but they ignored him. However, someone else must have spoken to him as he soon went and got a man in a suit who, after a heated discussion, got the parents to take their babies out. So, am I the arsehole?